Your account was permanently suspended due to multiple or repeat violations of Twitter rules. This account will not be restored. This case will now be closed and replies will not be monitored. Thanks, Twitter. So much for all this, new management. They're going to review permanent suspensions. I need my Twitter, man. Everybody go on Twitter and go holler at Elon. Tweet at Elon. I can't tweet at Elon. I wish I could. Just all you have to do is say, your unban system doesn't work. All my emails that I use have been used to make new Twitter accounts. They've all been banned instantly. Google Voice, they ban you from signing up with Google Voice. Well, you think I'm stupid? You think this is my first go-around? This is Shkreli you're talking about. Criminal mastermind. Make trashing an account. They can't ban a cat. Oh, I thought of that too. I made BLM bro to try to get on their good side. Didn't work. I made not Martin Shkreli. Didn't work. I made a whole new personality, Enrique Hernandez. I even gave him a world tour in his own website. Didn't work. I mean, he literally made a deep fake reggaeton artist. And I gave him a new song. I put the song on Spotify. That's how much I tried. He has a whole world tour. Enrique only lasted a couple months. They were mad at me for making Enrique. They said you're co-opting Latin American culture. Albanian account. Oh, I tried the trans thing. I've definitely tried a trans account. That didn't work.
Oh, I uninstalled all my video games, by the way. I uninstalled Rust and League of Legends. So you won't be seeing any gaming content from me anymore. And I think you should do the same thing. You should delete all the video games on your computer right now. Why be a customer when you can be a hustler? Is there a better way to put it? I still have Fortnite up. I'm not going to lie, I still have Fortnite.
If you're in high school, I don't know. Everyone has their own... Advice is particular to one person, right? There's not generic advice that you can give to everybody. If you're a lazy person, I'd give you advice about that. If you're a determined person, I might give you advice about something else. It's just not easy to give advice that is generic to everyone.
Now let's look at this. This is really key. This is the income per business. I wish more conglomerates would do this. I wish Amazon would do this. This is the secret sauce behind Amazon, right? Is that you don't know what their actual retail business margins are. And I think they've been hiding and lying about their quote unquote unprofitable retail business. I think it's quite profitable. They just invest a lot of money in things like Alexa and stuff like that is not profitable. Certainly, if I were them, I wouldn't want Walmart to know what my margins were on retail. But when you hire people from Amazon and you interview people, you get to figure it out anyway. So, but us Wall Streeters may not get to know. Yeah, Andrew Jones makes a good point. Most stocks are pretty efficient. So you're kind of looking for a diamond in the rough. And oftentimes for every opportunity, I like to think about and try to explain why does this opportunity even exist. I won't get too caught up in that usually, but it is an important question. If markets are efficient and everyone has access to the same data, why is this opportunity there for me and not there for everybody else? And chances are that, in fact, there is no opportunity. You're wrong. So I think you have to, use your head as you contemplate that philosophical question. Yeah, sometimes the market inefficiency is inexplainable. Sometimes it's because, there's a preconceived notion about a company's, product. There has to be a reason usually for the opportunity. It's a private company, it's a public company, but it failed a different product, so people are assuming the rest of the products suck. There's so many different kind of ways to wonder and think about, well, why is this arbitrage there for me? Fear and panic is exactly the right one. Usually fear or panic and fear can go both ways. They can be bullish and bearish, greed and fear at least.
So yeah, a lot of chat about what's safe, what isn't. It's funny that treasury bonds can be unsafe if you have liquidity needs. So, what's safe is a function not just of the safety of that asset, but also the liquidity of that asset. So there's no obvious sort of answer for a lot of these things. Safety is always relative, right? You can always have your money taken away by the government or the state, as we sometimes call it, disparagingly. I want to say there's an 𝗟𝗙𝗙𝗬𝗑, or like an anchoring central tendency towards chaos. It's hard to know exactly what'll happen
today, tomorrow, etc. You can look at a lot. You can look at it a lot of different ways, and I don't know that there's an obvious prediction as to what will happen. Like I said, the stochasticity is significant. You have a lot of nodes in this decision tree, and a lot of them are nodes you can't see. It's a hidden Markov process. I don't know what, I don't look at bank stocks, so I don't know. You know, I think the valuable kind of like perspective here is a bank analyst, but like to me, interest rates are hedgeable, 1. 2, you have duration. There's a lot of duration hedging that happens. So like 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗏 said that Interactive Brokers doesn't buy higher yield long-term bonds for this exact reason. The duration risk isn't worth it. Yeah, so in terms of like, will we see a big deleveraging process where there's this contagion of fear that feeds on itself and, you know, et cetera? It's possible, but it's also possible we go back to normal, right? And there's no real way to predict this. It's way too, you know, you may predict it correctly by accident. You may predict it correctly and assign some wisdom to yourself when you should be assigning randomness. So bonds are fixed income because the coupon is fixed. We don't know if this is 2008 2.0. So we don't know if this will be blown over within a week, or we don't know if it's the beginning of the end, right? We have no clue. 2008 was very interesting. Worry is a relative statement, right? Markets react instantaneously to new information. So it's very hard to sort of think about things in terms of worry, right? It's just is what it is, you know? You have to react to the prices. So there's like 2 ways to philosophize about it. The market's going your direction, you're happy. The market's not going your direction, you're sad. That's kind of not a great way to look at it, I think. Even though your mind wants you to think that way, right? Your mind really would prefer that narrative, and you have to kind of fight that narrative. In terms of Cramer, I think, yeah, the guy he's a good dude. He has to talk about things all day long, which leads to this kind of sort of difficult situation where you're on tape all the time. If you or I were on tape all the time, it could be very easy to put your foot in your mouth. It wouldn't be hard at all. It's either that or you hedge everything kind of like I do. You're careful and intelligent about and measured about what you say. That's very boring. So that's not good for television. So it's a really hard job he has to sort of make everyone happy, and I don't envy his job with that. So here's the depression scale where lower is better, okay? Lower is better. Here is time. All right? The red I'm going to make is the antidepressant, okay? So the red is the antidepressant. And when you take the antidepressant, you get lower with time, okay? And that's been proven over many, many years. Some of this is a natural effect because when you do a clinical trial, most people in a clinical trial, they have something called volition, which is the will to live, right? Volition is the willingness to get up in the morning, the willingness to take the day, seize the day. People with depression have less volition. They have more apathy. They have more issues like that. And I certainly have had my fair share of depression, as we all have. So a lack of volition and energy is a way to basically think about depression. So here you have the antidepressant. So the point is, this isn't all coming from the antidepressant. Some of this is coming from the fact that people in antidepressant clinical trials are coming out of their depression to begin with, because a clinical trial is a pain to get into. So if you're ready to go into a clinical trial as a depressed patient, you're probably coming out of your depression, because people with serious depression, they don't care about their hygiene. They don't care about going to work. They don't care about anything. They just sit at home and they sit in bed. They can't get out of bed, let alone enrolling in a clinical trial. It's very difficult. It's a very time-consuming process. So anyway, the SAGE drug, the data seems to go like this, which is kind of strange, right? So you get a better antidepressant effect, and then it just levels off, and you're back to where you are with the antidepressant. So these are people who are taking both the SAGE drug and an antidepressant like Zoloft, Lexapro, etc., Paxil, whatever, traditional antidepressant. So these are people who are taking both, and these are people who are just taking one of the classic antidepressants. Shut up, kitty. You don't know anything about this. No, you don't. You're new to pharmaceutical. You're only 2 months old. How do you know more than me? I've been doing this 20 years. I'm the farmer, bro. What do you think you are, Pharma Cat? Yeah, shut up. So the question is this area under the curve really worth bridging the patient to, right? Like, I don't know that you get much out of this. If you're going to inevitably end at the same place, why do I need this drug? You know what it's like? It's like, and I don't drive, but this kind of reminds me of, you see this massive, I don't know, let me start over. You're sitting in a 2-lane, okay? Here's the 2-lane. And you see up ahead, the exit has like bumper to bumper traffic. These are supposed to be cars, so bear with me. Just nonstop cars here, right? And here's the exit. And there's basically miles and miles away, you're over here, and here's the other car. And you know that no matter how fast you get to this point, this traffic jam, and you can see for miles that this is just bumper to bumper to bumper to bumper, right, for a mile. So basically, you floor it to get here at 90 miles an hour. Maybe you get there a little faster, but this guy goes 20 miles an hour, and he's right behind you. You're both going to get to the same place at the same time. So why beat this guy, right? And that's basically what this drug is kind of like, right? You're going to get the same effect, but you're racing to the same limited effect. So I don't think this drug will sell that well. But the thing about psychiatry is that there's always an interest in new medicine. So it's having that new choice for a physician is an important thing, where you could, if you're a doctor and you have a patient that just hasn't responded to anything, sometimes it's really nice to have another drug to try, because the people with depression who just aren't doing well on any drug, and there's something really nice about being able to provide hope, provide a new potential medicine that could be really, really beneficial. So I think that's certainly, there's something there. Moral hazard is gone. I don't know if we're going to a recession or not. Macro is very, very tough to predict. I focus on individual companies. I try to find the best drug stocks and tech stocks, and I try to find the worst drug stocks and tech stocks. And for me, and when I say tech, I really mean software only. So for me, that's a skill that I have proven, I think, again and again. And that way, if you buy the best stocks and short the worst stocks, you get a hedged portfolio, and you don't have to worry about the macro. If you're sitting there worried about, what's happening with the whole economies, and you think you can predict that stuff, God bless you, but that's not for me. And I haven't met too many people that could predict that, by the way.
And again, if I were more interested in Snapchat, I would commission a survey of their average users, things like that. There's a lot of ways to do professional work. You don't want to just sit and think, oh, well, my friends think this or my friends think that. You want real methods, research methods. In science, methods are very, very important. In fact, methods are pretty much the only thing that matters in science when you conduct experiments. The same thing applies in finance. When you are trying to formulate a financial theory of a stock, you should have very, very good methods. Otherwise, you could be really risking missing out on something or concluding the wrong thing. Just because you don't like something doesn't mean everybody is not going to like it. You may hate Facebook. I know people who don't like Facebook. But gee, you wish you were the first investor in that company. Imagine being told that you could invest in Facebook and you say, that sounds dumb. I wouldn't like that kind of product myself. Well, it doesn't matter what you like.
You don't have a 12C on you. What are you even doing in my hood? What are you even doing? I'm making a music video of me in the 12C. It's going to be my highly produced YouTube. It's going to get 100 million views. I'm going to do it with all my goon friends from jail. It's going to be like me in a hoodie, a couple of thugged out guys in the street corner. And they're like, yo, Shkreli, what are you doing here? Aren't you scared to be around here by yourself without bodyguards? Like, nah, dog, that keeps it on me. And then the other guys can be like, ooh. It's like, keep it on. And then one of the thugs is like, you keep it on you? What do you mean you keep it on me? I said, I don't leave home without it. I always keep it on me. What exactly are you keeping on you? 9mm, a Glock? I said, nah, son. And I start to take it out, and they're like, oh, Shkreli, don't take it out here. There's cameras. I'm like, good idea. And it kind of looks like a gun, almost. You could kind of confuse it for a gun. A New York City police officer would confuse it for a gun and shoot you. Okay, keep it right here in my breast pocket, like, got that thing on me, the glizzy, it's not a 9mm, it's 12C, very different. I say, oh, you got the 9mm? Nah, I got the 12C. 12C? Is that some German? Get calculated, get discounted. I had a bunkie once in prison. You meet a lot of crazy people in prison, right? And you meet a lot of stupid people, for better or worse. There's some smart people in prison too, but you meet a lot of stupid people. And I had a bunkie named Travis, a 12-man room. So there's 6 beds, 6 bunk beds, right? And woke on these balls, Archie Bunker says. Anyway, this kid Travis says, I bet you, or not I bet you, I could tell the difference between a black guy and a white guy's farts. I'm just sitting there like, I shouldn't engage. I really shouldn't, right? This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I really should not be engaging this nonsense. But I'm looking at him like, and I don't like to talk to this guy because he's so dumb, right? And I'm just like, no, you can't. And he's like, I swear to you, I can. This guy is doing like 40 years. He's like, I promise you I can. I'm like, dude, you can't. People, it just doesn't make sense. But it was just such a painful discussion. In prison, we all have to eat the same thing, so there's no different no different diets there. I bet you can't. Let's do a smell test. No, that would have been going too far. That's what one of the smartest guys I met in jail took me aside, and he's like, Shkreli, there's this one thing you got to do. He had a thick Jamaican accent, so I don't want to copy the accent, but he was like, don't become a gangster. I was like, what does that mean? He was like, I see how you're operating around here. You're starting to become like us. Don't do it. You're not one of us. Don't become one of us. Marley was a funny dude, but it's good advice. You are the average of the 5 dudes you hang around, so exactly.
The history of botulinum toxin dates back to 1822, when a German physician, Dr. Kerner, identified it as a fat poison derived from sour sausages. After self-administering the toxin, he reported marked drying of the palate and pharynx. He suggested that the toxin interrupted nerve conduction, reduced hyperexcitability, and caused what was later described as clinical botulism. Subsequently, in 1869, another German physician, John Mueller, coined the term botulism, from botulus, the Latin word for sausage. The source was identified to be anaerobic bacteria Clostridium botulinum, and 7 different subtypes were discovered. Subtype A was chemically purified in 1928, paving its way for therapeutic use. The first use of botulinum toxin type A for correcting strabismus, induced strabismus in rhesus monkeys, was in 1973, and it was commercialized as botulinum toxin A, oculinum. It was approved for blepharospasm and strabismus in 1989, and further rebranded as BOTOX. In Albania, we drink something called RAKIA. It's not for the faint of heart. I was out, I'll tell you this, I was out with a couple, I was out with a girl, my date, if you will, a married couple and their friend who's an investor. It was the 5 of us for dinner. We went to a authentic Balkan restaurant. And they were like, oh, let's drink raki, let's drink raki. And I said, listen, this is not something to play with. This is very dangerous, toxic alcohol. Greece, they have raki, they have grappa, they've got all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, you can put this in your car, and it'll run. This is dangerous stuff to drink. And they said, oh, no, it's no big deal. And I said, if you girls want to drink this raki, I'm going to be the one that has to carry you home. And of course, guess what happened? I said, slow down. Don't drink shots of raki. You're crazy. Shot of raki. Are you nuts? No, my date barely made it. The other girl, the married girl, was passed out pretty quick. It's not as strong as something like Everclear. No. My grandpa used to drink it every day. He used to drink one shot of raki. But he'd nurse it. He wouldn't drink it quick.